Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Williams to approve the minutes of August 25th. Second by Commissioner Head. All those in favor of approving the minutes of August 25th, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. And audience of individuals, number 3. I see no one here. Moving on to number 4, review and act on accounts payables. And Mr. Allen, I see you're online. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear y'all well.
We'll be with you shortly after a few more business items.
Looks like everybody got PF&E or got at least decent. Robert got a different one.
I will, some months of work. Well, I didn't thought so, just put it over there. Couple weeks ago.
So just to let y'all know on page 7, under my precinct on that Lone Star truck group is the Freightliner at $4,665. If y'all remember correctly, last month we paid that repair at Freightliner that was $19,000. Well, for some reason they left off a part. The one part was $4,500. And so, and then we waited about 4.5 weeks for another part. And so they did give us about a $600 credit, but that is still the other part of it. And that is the main part that was broke. They had it on the estimate. They just didn't put the price on there. And so did a lot of arguing with them, but anyway,
Okay.
there it is.
Okay, commissioners, any other questions on accounts payables? Or discussion?
I make a motion, we approve the accounts payables.
Accounts payable motion been made by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Sullivan. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving accounts payable, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, consent agenda, commissioners. All the reports, treasurer's report, MCAD, county district clerk report, tax assessor report, county extension report, facilities report, sheriff's reports, JP, county judge's receipt, Hamilton EMS, veteran service officer, and emergency management coordinator. Another busy month for all departments.
Dale asked me to make sure that my packet was the same as his, and he caught that, on the treasurer's report. You're missing page 1 of the second section.
Okay.
So there is not a page, it starts with page 2, 3, and it gives all the different departments, but it's missing some.
Which was missing?
Page 1, missing on this.
It's missing the first 3 precincts, it's missing the,
Okay.
Page 1, something is y'all. Here's his missing, I'm just
Okay.
forgot to put one in there.
have the whole document.
Okay.
Other than that, I mean, what I see is
Okay.
correct, but Dale was just making sure that it wasn't just him that got left out.
Yeah.
He's used to that, so.
Hey, Ned, can you hear me on that? Did you hear that comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we will, just, table that. If we're missing a page, you got the correct page, right?
Yes, that comes from summer.
That comes from summer, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay,
I don't think it makes any difference, it's just freezing, or 33 something, whatever is about in front of that.
okay.
Jail looks full. It's only the second week. Just checking. Gotcha. I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda except for the monthly treasurer's report.
Okay, motion's been made to approve the consent agenda excluding the county treasurer's report. There a second? Second by Commissioner Sullivan. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda with exclusion of the treasurer's report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 5, consider and act on budget amendments and related items. Commissioners, if you look, there's 2 items for budget amendments, courthouse maintenance and then non-departmental.
And that says from miscellaneous expense, where is that actually?
Say again now.
When the second one says from, I think it's decreased miscellaneous expense. We've got that type of money in miscellaneous expense?
I don't have the answer to that.
We worked for a chunk of that.
In miscellaneous?
Yeah, we had miscellaneous and also things.
Didn't think we had anything.
No,
That's for.
that's for, this is last year's budget. So you have to look at last year's,
I mean, I'm just surprised you didn't have that kind of money in miscellaneous expense.
Here we go. Nice expense. Yeah. We have it. For 66,000. Okay. Any other questions on that? I'll make a motion, we approve the budget amendments as presented. Second by Commissioner Head. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the budget amendments, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, number 6, discussion of guidelines and criteria regarding tax abatements under chapter 312, the Texas Tax Code. Mr. Allen, good morning, from Mills County. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir. How are all of y'all?
I know we're gonna communicate quite a bit with you. I'll set things up and then, state what we're doing here. And, commissioners, I know we'll have some questions. Our county attorney may have some questions. So the first step we're gonna need to do is establish new guidelines and criteria. Public hearings required prior to voting on the guidelines and criteria. And then following the adoption, get rid of this call, someone's trying to call me. Following the adoption of guidelines and criteria, the court will need to designate a reinvestment zone. There'll need to be another public hearing, and it requires a 7-day notice of posting in the newspaper. We also need to deliver the notice of the hearings of the presiding officer to other taxing jurisdictions within the proposed zone. So I'll turn everything over to you, Mr. Allen, since you're the expert. So good morning again.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank y'all for letting me come and talk to you here for a little bit. Again, I've always enjoyed working with Mills County in the past, and we have in the past with Mills County established guidelines and criteria. Some of y'all may remember that, but they're only good for 2 years. So in order to kind of consider any of these new proposals that are coming in front of you. If it's something that you wanted to do, we have to get some new guidelines and criteria put in place. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about before even we set the hearing. You know, one of the deals I'd like to have here is that to give you all the opportunity to look at them, make comments and everything before we go to that public hearing. So, you know, we're not scrambling at the last minute. Basically, in my experience in the past, when we go to the hearing without looking at them first, you know, it can create some confusion. We may get some public comments. And we may not be as familiar with the document. So that's essentially why we're doing this now, is so you can get a little familiarity and make some comments. We can make some modifications, because right now the ones that I had sent over, they're fairly generic. You know, you've got some discretion in there. One of the things that guidelines and criteria doesn't do, though, is they don't prohibit you from doing anything. They don't reduce your discretion with tax abatements. They don't cause you to have to enter tax abatements. They just kind of give a framework, kind of a threshold of where you can go in. You know, you can put in there the minimum amount of investments or minimum amount of jobs, or even if there's specific industries that you're targeting, you can address those. You know, in some of the larger counties, you'll see them get more specific as to types of industry that they want to give abatements to, and maybe some that they don't want to give abatements to, or things like that. You know, in counties our size here, usually they're pretty open, where it's what I've presented here for y'all to look at. It's highlighted in them. It was a threshold of $10 million, which is pretty common. Though some of our older ones may have been a little bit of a lower threshold. One difference that I've added to these guidelines that I presented to y'all is having a job creation requirement, a full-time employment requirement for jobs coming in. I know that's often a concern with many of these. It doesn't necessarily bind you on that. You know, later in the requirements, we have a separate section which allows you to have some discretion, similar to the way that back before the legislature eliminated them, 313 agreements with school districts used to have a jobs requirement in them, but the school boards were allowed to have some discretion and request that be reduced. You could do that. That's particularly relevant on a lot of renewable energy projects, like solar projects, particularly because they don't create a lot of jobs. But that's also why we have that job requirement. A lot of counties have decided that's not something that they want to consider. They view the tax abatement as a way to create jobs and sustain population in the counties. And a lot of times we don't get that from, particularly from solar projects, just because they don't create that many. But it, like a data center or something else, does create a lot of jobs. So, you know, it gives you some ability to gatekeep those initial requests if that's something that you wanted to do. But beyond that, you know, like I said earlier, broadly what the guidelines and criteria are for is they're just that minimum requirement of, so that when some project comes to your county, you can tell them right off the bat whether or not they meet those minimum thresholds of the things that they want and things that you're going to want in your abatement, whether that, like I said, are job requirements, road use requirements, various things, a reimbursement of any expenses that you have, so the county's not out of money in negotiating, preparing these. You can put in your application, which is something that's fairly useful. What I've had in experience, and we don't have a specific application attached to this. Another place where past experience has taught something. If we don't have a specific application requirement, we get a very mixed bag of applications, and a lot of them don't provide us a lot of the information that you're going to want to know. So that's something that could be done through the guidelines and criteria. You know, our tax abatements, if you look in there, the standards for a tax abatement talk about the value of the improvements and the type, and then location and things like that. Those are some things that you can include in an application, which gives you some information as far as, like, again, evaluating the project before you dive off into spending your time and effort and doing these sorts of things. So creating an application through the guidelines and criteria would also be something to consider that we don't have on here. But yeah, I mean, broadly, that's what we're trying to do with these, is essentially create that threshold Even create it specific enough such that if there's any employees that y'all would prefer to delegate this to within the county who can go through a checkbox and see if any applicant meets the threshold, that they can do that. So any questions on that, I'm happy to answer.
I'll start off, Mr. Allen. Thanks again. I've talked to you numerous times for the last few weeks. Can the county charge the solar farm for our legal work with you, through the guidelines and criteria? Or is that, ever you see that happen much?
We do, in Nolan County, we do include that, and I've included some language in this to where one of the requirements for the application is that they agree to reimburse expenses.
Okay. Okay. And, now regarding a road access agreement, I believe you told me one time we didn't have to do guidelines and criteria for road access agreement, but we would tie, since we're going to move forward with this, looks like we would do the road access agreement with the guidelines and criteria.
Yes,
Correct.
we can have a requirement in there, and some of that is included in the requirements of what we can consider, but we can include a provision in the guidelines and criteria that says as part of the process of entering a tax abatement, they have to execute a road use agreement.
Okay. Commissioners, other questions? Bill?
I noticed in this one compared to the last one, we've got chapter 551 in the Texas Government Code is at least 30 days before scheduled a meeting. And I think in the previous one, it was 45 days to proceed with the application. Is that the same? Am I reading that the same, or is that?
The statute for a tax abatement is 30 days. It's the same requirements as a normal posting, except it's 30 days instead of the, I guess now, whatever it is, 3 business days or whatever they changed that to recently.
Okay.
But once we get an actual application or an actual abatement, we do have to post it a full month ahead. It has to sit, and then we have to distribute it to other taxing entities before you would ever vote on an abatement.
Go ahead, Bill.
Can I move the mic?
No, I think, can you hear Mr. Bill Malone?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Pull that mic if you need to.
And for the benefit of the court, like you and I spoke this morning, my telephone, and the only issue I wanted to raise, there are a number of minor tweaks in the actual guidelines and criteria. But the major change I would like to be able to work on, perhaps with you or as the court would determine, has to do with the application. The application form now is fairly minimal, and I was hoping that we could expand that to include the a lot of the issues that are stated in the guidelines and criteria, and I assume that would be acceptable to you.
Yes, I think that's a good idea, is to have a detailed application. You know, like I said, a lot of the trouble that I've had seen in other places is that the application doesn't give a lot of information. So when we go to post or when we get questions from the community as to what it's going to be, you know, we'll just be like, well, it's a solar farm and they say it's $250 million or something. If we have a detailed application that we require everyone to fill out, we can get, you know, a majority of the information up front. That makes the process of establishing a reinvestment zone easier, and it certainly simplifies the idea of negotiating the abatement because you know what to expect. You know what questions to ask as much as anything. You know what kind of job requirement or job expectation that they're going to have, and those sorts of things. So yeah, having a detailed application, I think, is definitely advisable.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Allen, one concern, as you know, I've had is in case of default, and with the solar farm or whoever's coming in here, is there any protections we can put in there regarding that issue on the guidelines and criteria?
We're going to have the recapture language because it's statutorily required, so that they will be required to have, the abatement's required to have the recapture of the taxes. We could look at including some more specific requirements, whether there's any sort of bonding type requirements. I've done that in a couple places before. Most of the time, sort of restoration securities are based off of the actual landowner agreements. But I don't see anything that necessarily, no one has told us that we can't put that sort of requirement in the abatement agreement itself. You know, for example, you could use the experience that we had here in this county, Nolan County, where they went to recycle the turbine blades and ended up letting them sit around everywhere. And there's no funds really to clean them up. They're just sitting in fields right now because the company that did them went bankrupt. They went to buy them, and it's a long story there. But you know, we could have some sort of requirements of removal security, and we've done that in abatements before. So I think that would be an avenue that we could look at including in there. And like I said, there's no authority that says that we can't do that, and you'll have some discretion, and that could be something that you use as far as discretion, as far as saying, look, we're willing to incentivize you coming, but we want to have the assurance that this is not going to become a problem within the county, whether that's through leaving the place trashed or not removing your improvements or anything like that. It's not an unreasonable item to have in there with respect to certain types of improvements. And even in the way that the legislature is currently bending with respect to some of these projects, is particularly renewable projects, I think you'd probably be a little bit ahead of the curve if you started including those sorts of requirements.
Okay,
Part of the road use still, though, I mean, like, on some of the precincts, wind turbines, the road use agreement's over with, they still be all around the road. And
yeah,
like Mike last year, they sunk a truck in the middle of the road,
yeah. And
took back it's his problem.
well, we called the company up, and they said, yeah, sorry, we're not gonna do anything with, yeah, the damage they did, yeah.
I have a question. Where these guidelines and criteria, of course, are set up for abatements. Do you consider a pilot an abatement?
Yes, yeah, as part of the pilot, what you do in there is you abate 100% of the ad valorem taxes and then require them to pay. So there is abatement involved in them. It's the same process.
Mr. Allen, on, since we're doing these guidelines and criterias, and we've already been engaged with some communications with certain farms, can we go back and have them meet these requirements, even though we've already started that communication?
Yes, I think so. You know, because right now, I don't know that Mills County has active guidelines and criteria. So, you know, essentially what we can tell them is, look, we're honoring your request to do this, and we've taken the time to establish guideline and criteria, but you're going to have to follow them because this is the prerequisite to you even engaging in formal discussions with them and starting the process, is having these. So up to this point, we would consider what y'all have done with those who have talked to you informal. Going forward, what I think we would ask them to do is, you know, these are our guidelines and criteria. You know, if they've submitted an application and we passed a new application, you know, I think we could accept the prior application. But you know, these are going to be the prerequisite. And so I don't foresee that as a problem of saying that they need to follow these, because even if these were in place or you had prior ones, they don't limit your discretion of what you wanted in the abatement. So you could go beyond what's there.
Okay.
So regarding these proposed guidelines and criteria, do we need to make any changes on what has been sent to us before we move forward?
What I'll do is I'll take some of your comments. I'll find a form of an application that I'll send over to y'all to look at. And so when we have the hearing, those will be, and I'll include some language for bonds and road use requirements in them. So y'all can look at them, and you can, and when, after we have the actual hearing, when you adopt them, you can decide if you want them that way or not. You know, the motion can be to, you know, accept the abatements, the guidelines and criteria as presented, or as y'all always do, we're a motion to accept them with this modification. But I'll get y'all that language so it makes these a little more specific to Mills County, particularly, like I said, with the application, a road use agreement saying that we are not going to consider necessarily an abatement unless you're agreeing to take care of the roads that you're going to use. And then I'll look and see about some bonding language so you can at least look at that and see what it would look like.
Okay, I'm just looking at the time calendar. I'm guessing you're gonna work on this next week. We'll get it back. And commissioners is okay, then the September 22nd meeting, we'll go over the new proposed guidelines and criteria. And then what I'm understanding is that the next step, once we agree to those guidelines and criteria, we'll have the public hearing at a date within, I think it has to be posted, you said 7 days, correct?
Yes, that would be for the reinvestment zone. If you wanted to move forward on it, like once we have these guidelines and criteria at the meeting that you wanted to consider adopting them, you'd have a public hearing on the guidelines and criteria in case there's anyone in Mills County who wanted to talk about that. We adopt those and then we post probably for your next meeting, the public hearing on the reinvestment zone. And that one has the specific requirements that we have to run it in the Gulf White Eagle that notice 7 days ahead of time. It's a little different, but that's when we would post that. So it would be however many, a couple weeks after you adopted the guidelines and criteria.
Our Gulf Way Eagle comes out every Wednesday, so, okay,
We do have to adopt guidelines and criteria before we work on the reinvestment zone.
Correct.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we have to have them in place. We can't designate them. The statute specifically says the county may not designate an area until the guidelines and criteria are established.
okay, so again, what I'm hearing, commissioners will, Mr. Allen will work on the guidelines and criteria, and you'll get it to us hopefully in this week sometime, and then next commissioners court meeting, which is September 22nd, is that a good timeline for everybody? You know,
Bill, you're gonna get in talk to him, you're gonna talk to him in that change.
Yes, I'd like to, there's some tweaks I'd like to do, but they're not ready to.
Mr. Allen, as you know, they've changed the requirements from the state, we have to have 3 full business days now.
Mhm.
So it's really made it a little different, but you know the rules and that's what we're following.
Yeah, it does complicate things a little. We've got some other meetings that it substantially changed our posting by a couple days, 72 hours and 3 business days. Doesn't seem like that different, but it's pretty different.
Thanks Tuesday, Thursday afternoon, we can't do that anymore. It's gotta be by
Yeah.
Tuesday,
Mhm.
5 p.m. Okay, commissioners, any other questions or Mr. Malone, any questions for Mr. Allen?
Nope. Thank
Okay.
y'all for doing this.
Yeah, Mr. Allen, we enjoyed working with you and everything.
Yeah.
And we're working some more with you and Mr. Malone, our county attorney, may reach out. So
Yeah,
thank you.
I'll be in touch.
And
Yeah.
Zoom works a lot better. I hate if you have to travel 3 hours to go play, spend an hour or so here, 3 hours back. There's your day. So this is much easier.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and we are actually, we had a trial set there for today in the district court, but it got settled. So I would have been there, but I guess fortunately it got settled. But we were going to be there. But yes, this does work.
Saves a lot of time for everybody.
I have one other question and I'd rather you just, if you have some ideas on that, send it to the judge when you send him some stuff. See if you can figure out what you're seeing on percentages on pilots.
Okay, yeah, I'll show you, and I'll send a little spreadsheet that y'all can play with too. That is based off of some of the ones that I've done recently.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah, very good. Yeah,
Okay.
anything off board the commissioners. All right, any other questions for Mr. Allen? Mr. Allen, thank you, sir. Have a wonderful
Sure,
day.
definitely. Good talking to y'all.
Bye-bye. Okay, number 7, consider an act on peace officer training reimbursement agreement with Troy Webb and related matters. I call the Sheriff Jones up to the podium. Sheriff Jones, good morning again, sir. We've got several things regarding your department and other things, so.
How is the court this morning, sir?
Oh, it's all good, all
I don't
good.
know if that's on.
Is it on? And then can you hear the sheriff there at the podium? It's on. I bet she can hear you. Okay. Go ahead. This is on the police officer training reimbursement agreement. Go ahead, Sheriff.
So this reimbursement agreement is not anything that the court's not familiar with. It's one that we did with Tommy and Brian. It's a very successful program, and what we managed to do at the sheriff's office is find another unit that is going to be an excellent asset to us. But certainly it's one of those where we'll have to send him to school and train him for 6 months. So that's basically what this is. It's an agreement that they signed, 4 years of service after we trained them. It's exactly what we've done in the past. Not anything really different.
Is Mr. Webb from here? I don't believe
He
that.
is, he actually born and raised, so he just,
Yeah.
like I said, when I say just like Tommy and Brian, it's the same thing, they're good, solid,
Good deal.
applicant that has come to us that is born and raised in Mills County.
And refresh my memory, how long does it take for the officer candidate training and all that?
So that's a 6-month program, we'll have them down there training, they'll be an employee of the department. While they're going through that training, and when they are finished with that, pass the state test, then they'll become a commissioned law enforcement officer.
And school would start when, next month or
Start today.
today? Okay. Okay.
So this is in this year's budget or last year's budget or next year's budget to come?
It'll be in the next year, but it'll be in October.
Okay,
So we pay for the school, basically what we're up against there is the cost of the school. And then, cost of taking care of that individual while he's in school, blankets and things of that nature.
well,
Fairly inexpensive for us to do that as a county, except for the wages that we pay. Essentially what would amount to, he's a county employee while he's going to school, so we just make him go to school. The cost of the school itself and the time to have him down there is very beneficial for the county. I think it's $450. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, for the cost of the school.
Nice.
Watches.
It says $400 for books, uniform, $275 for tuition. Yeah. The only thing, there's two things, and I don't mind telling you, probably already know that, I was on the school board for a bunch of years. I never agreed with this way of doing things because their certification, whether it be a teacher or law enforcement, does not belong to Mills County. It belongs to the individual. And I know we've got the deal in here, you know, the 1 year, 2 year, whatever, all the way up to 4. I don't think there's any way that you can enforce that. So that's just in there for the writing.
You are exactly right, Commissioner. It's more of a gentleman's handshake.
gentleman.
You will stay, and like I said, we've been successful with that in the past. We've not ever had anyone that absolutely just said it's out here. But actually holding their feet to the fire legally, can we do it?
The only other thing I've got, the 26 hours on this, and this may, well, it says September 7th, but maybe an old deal is, I think we've got their salary plus their overtime, plus their meals and travel now against, and somebody to do their job description here in the county while they're going to school, right? I mean, somebody has to do the work over here while they're.
So you're right, yeah, when we think about that. However, I have someone who is being trained, will come back and fill that position as compared to no one. So that position that they're filling now, this other man that has to fill that when we operate shorthanded is for a 6-month time period instead of, we don't know how long. Because I can tell you that I've had an applicant, I had a notice on the TCO website that said, we have an opening in Mills County, and I've had no one interested in that. When we think of law enforcement officers that are around to hire these days, those are few and far. So yes, that circumstance will happen for 6 months, so we'll be extremely short-handed. And someone else will have to work that position. While that one's in school, yes, in the end, in 6 months, what I get is somebody that will be with me for 4 years. I actually am a proponent of this plan because I have 2 that will be here for 4 years. When this one is done, I will have 3. And if I can manage to accomplish it again and find a good applicant that is from here, I will have 4. And that means I'll have someone that will be here for essentially the next 4 years. I'll be able to fill these positions as compared to the one that just came to me off of our application that we put on TCO, which was Jonathan Vallejo. Jonathan was an exceptional deputy. But what I didn't have was a contract that bound him here for 4 years. And when he got here and worked a little bit and found out that Manpass is paid more money, they have a better insurance program, what do you suspect he did? So yes, if I can get someone and I can suffer a minuscule amount of money to me, I guess, or better way of saying that, in overtime, things of that nature, and I get somebody, I get a full staff for 4 years, that's compared to 2 weeks, I was full for 2 weeks. I had a full staff for 2 weeks. So if I can get a full staff for 4 years, I think that's a win for the county. And I might get a full staff from now on. So if we employ those young men that are born and raised here, that come from the county, I suspect we'll be in a lot better shape than what we are right now, and that is extremely important. So I have one in school, and then I'm still down, so I'm essentially down 2 deputies. And I have 2 brand new ones that don't have to go for. I don't know if Mills County has been this short-handed in a long time.
I think we all face the same thing.
Yes, sir.
I'm not picking on the system. We don't really have that avenue. When one of our 2 hands leave, we've got 1 hand until we can replace them. So we're all running the same circle here. It's not just law enforcement, it's just not precincts.
Yeah,
We have resigned ourselves to managing to make this a more proficient program. And the way that we're doing this and understanding that we're going to be training individuals and we're going to have new individuals, and it could be a 4-year rotation.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to learn how to navigate that plan and make it beneficial for the county, for the benefit of the county. That's what we're.
so I don't remember hearing this during the budget process that you were gonna hire anybody else.
During the budget process, I was full.
Okay, so was I, and I've asked the treasurer if I could go ahead and look at doing something like this for a new road hand that we know is gonna retire in February. And she has told me that I can't do it since we didn't discuss it during the budget process. So how is Summer doing this for you? I'm just trying to figure out, because for me,
I'm not sure that someone's doing anything, so what I'm doing is coming to Commissioner's Court and saying, we're going to send one to the academy who has signed a agreement to stay with us for 4 years. So basically, I would think that it is in your hands more than anyone about what we decide we want to do this time.
But this young man is already employed
As of yesterday,
as of yesterday.
yes, sir. It's not anything, like I said, it's not anything new to the court at all. We've done this, Sunbreak actually was the genesis of this program, and we see what that get. It's not something that from the building.
so you have money set aside for this in next year's budget.
He'll actually take the position of one of the deputies, is what he'll be.
Yeah, but we ran into overtime issues this year, so is that going to,
Overtime issues this 25, 26 as well, simply because of the number of shortages that I have. And not to mention the extra requests that we have. What we do at the sheriff's office these days is far and beyond what we've done in the past. As far as providing bailiffs for all of the courts now, as far as providing security for the schools and things of that nature, football games, it's on and on.
Yeah, so we had 2 or 3 deputies at the game Friday night. It was a good presence.
There's many things that are going on in the school these days that can't talk about it in the court, but there needs to be someone up there because of those circumstances. So that's not going to be something that will go away either. So we're working on that very quickly.
Why has this just came about? There used to not be that,
What's that?
deputies at football games.
Things, when you have that number of individuals involved in those football games, the things that can happen with those individuals, having security for our schools, we know that that's become quite an issue. So protective orders and things of that nature, that's still an area where there needs to be law enforcement present should any of those be violated. And if you want to discuss that further.
I understand what you're saying, but this is Mills County, so we'll talk about
We're starting
that.
to have some of those things in Mills County. So what we've kind of had a bit of a luxury and not been subject to some of those things that the bigger cities are subject to, that is making it way.
I mean, for years and years, when they had Brady Dance, somebody would be there, but my understanding was they were hired by the Legion to be there as a security
In those
guard.
circumstances, yes, but when we think about the school, that's the community, that's Mills County, that's the sheriff's office.
I think, yeah, definitely the school needs to be involved. That's something we can discuss later.
Absolutely.
I think this is a great contract. I mean, I've told this court before, I voted against Sundrake in doing this contract at the very get-go. And I told Sundrake personally that I was wrong in that and that it's been a blessings to Mills County. What I have a problem with is we didn't discuss this. We didn't even talk about it in budget. During the budget process, we said, no, we're full up. We don't have to worry about that. And then we're not even into the new budget and we're already asking for, now we're 2 deputies short is what I'm hearing. I mean, you hired one yesterday, but so.
Some of that's probably gonna lie my feet.
Okay.
And being of the assumption that we have filled all of our positions and it's going to stay that way. And I think that is not true, sir.
Oh, yeah.
So the fantasy that we have, just because I've got full staff, it's gonna stay that way.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on this, gentlemen? I'll make a motion that we, approve the training reimbursement agreement with Troy Webb. Motion has been made, second by Commissioner Head. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the, training reimbursement agreement, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, one against, 4 in favor. Okay, number 8, discussion of road and bridge and law enforcement safety program from TAC. So commissioners, every year we get information from the risk management of TAC. And I tried to reach out to the lady named Lee Bill Hovland. So what this amounts to is $824.21 that the sheriff's separate fund can use for any type of safety equipment. And also $824.21 through road and bridge. I think Commissioner Williams took the lead last year on this. This safety equipment it includes coolers, cones, safety vests, glasses. And there is I believe a website y'all can go to. Now, I think last year what we did, all the commissioners kind of talked about what's best, what everybody needed. And Sheriff, of course, it's your call on that. So Commissioner Williams, did you want to spearhead this again?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have it. I didn't know the sheriff's department got their own 800. Y'all got y'all's own 800? Okay, so y'all take care of that. I didn't know that. I was just been over the county. And usually it didn't used to be a website. Anyway, so I usually talk to the courthouse to see if the courthouse needs anything. I know one thing that the courthouse wants is what is it, a defibrillator type thing? What is that called?
$800.
Yeah, and they're getting closer. They're coming down on that price, but we still haven't gotten one for that. Now we could buy it and add that money to it, add extra money to it. But cones are like $25 a piece. And we can buy them out here at Live Oak for $2. So, so you got to really look at that. Their prices are way up there. And then I think they have 1 million radios on that website. So when you go look at it, sure, there's a lot of radios.
We
And
took
so,
advantage of this program last year, purchasing cones and things of that nature, plastic cones that she can carry in, don't take up somebody's room. So it was a beneficial program.
but yes, Judge, I would be honored to continue doing this. I've done it for about, I don't know,
Yeah.
7 or 8 years. Mitch J. Lewis used to do it before me. So,
Okay, so we got till October the 3rd to redeem this, and I'll give you this information, Commissioner Williams. It says visit the Amazon Resource Hub page for the program, and also there's contact info. Here you go. You can take all my notes there.
okay.
So Sheriff, you'll take care of yours, and Commissioner Williams will work with other commissioners to try to figure out what safety equipment we need on that, correct? Any other questions on road and bridge law enforcement safety equipment? Okay, number 9, consider an act on Sheriff's Office transferring 2016 Chevy pickup to Judge's Office for EMC effective October the 1st, 2025. Sheriff, you'll Tell us about that.
Yep, so what we're doing is an investigator vehicle, that position I no longer have available. It's a excellent vehicle to donate to the emergency management division of your, directorship there, so, that would just be a transfer from my budget to yours, sir.
Okay.
It'll be, one of those things that will help that EMC program. I think that's a very beneficial program. I've been involved in too many circumstances where emergency management was an integral part of what we were doing, so it's something that the county needs. I realize that sheriff's office wants to do what we can to make sure that that program is successful.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions on this?
No, I think it's a good deal, but I've talked to Jet, I've talked to several. I think there would be a benefit since it's through the judge's office that be. I mean, the truck that,
Yeah.
guy got from you, that would be a truck that could be used by MC, it could be used by the judge, it can be used by a guy. It would be a courthouse truck, if you want to call it such. You know.
This one is built specifically for that EMC position, so, it'll work out perfect for that. It has county radio in it, it's got the lighting and equipment with EMC, and it's perfectly legal in having on that vehicle, so it is already set up for those.
What y'all's thinking?
Well, as far as,
I mean, the budget's gonna have to be through the sheriff and the judge's department anyway.
It will be transferred to the emergency management director.
which we budgeted that in the next budget cycle. Personally, I never charge the county anything unless I go out of the county on travel. And I just usually rather take my pickup and just take it. Then I get reimbursed for mileage. So
But would this be a truck?
But you've never had a vehicle though, so,
I've never had
yeah,
a vehicle.
yeah, this would be.
Well, I hate to be
vehicle.
off to a meeting in Belton, and then there is an emergency come up where the EMC couldn't use it.
Well, if the EMC goes to Belton to the same meeting and there's a same.
But it had to go to some of the COG meetings I go to.
I'm just,
Also the other ones.
I mean, every now and then, since there is some money in your budget for fuel for repairs, I don't see why it couldn't be a county truck. Even if it does have the radios and stuff in it, I don't see.
I don't see that.
Well, and again, I go up to Brentwood, these meetings, juvenile board meetings. I mean, I really don't plan on using it. What was, David plan on taking the vehicle home with him, or what was the plan?
Well,
I'm gonna leave that in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
that's,
And here's one of the things that we need to talk about. Correctly, I said that vehicle is set up for the emergency management coordinator operation. That means it is equipped with red and blue lights. There are certain individuals that can operate those kinds of vehicles, and there are certain individuals that cannot. So it would be geared towards the EMC position. For county radio, fire sirens, all that kind of stuff. It would not be a good vehicle for a guy to be traveling around. It would be unlawful action.
David has something to say.
I can just add what the sheriff is saying, so one of the pieces that we're trying to do with the pickup truck that the sheriff department has provided is, yes, it is currently equipped with the equipment we need, but we've also acquired other equipment to build out that vehicle, so its capability to meet the role of the EMC in Wilkes County. So I don't know if I would want to have all that gear in that vehicle and then if you choose to go run Home Depot or, it's really going to be built out to serve a specific functionality. So just to kind of go with what the sheriff is saying, I don't know if it'd be a good vehicle just to lend out any kind of way of driving with each stuff with it. That makes sense.
It would be geared toward the EMC position. That's basically how it is.
But the MC position has a lot of work to be done on that
It
in the
absolutely
next
does.
couple of years.
We
So,
have to take steps to do that, and I think this is just another one of those steps as we move forward in solidifying that position in this county. So you're exactly right, Commissioner. It'll be another step towards Mills County having an MC coordinator in that director staff. So a little at a time, I suspect.
Yeah, we'll have to
But it
change.
will still have to, even if you do that, it's still gonna have to be funded under the judge's budget for this year.
And some of that is, we already put,
Yeah, October first,
yeah, we already put,
there's
Three
3,000.
per fuel or something like that.
it's 70, I think it's 7,500 for oil and something like that. And then there's equipment for 3,000 or something like that. If I'm not, I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I think there's about 10,000 in there for that account that the judge put in the line item. So, yeah, and I'd agree with the sheriff that it's the first step. There's a couple other steps that we need to do, listen and TAC and to legal and all that. So, but, I'm okay with it. I think that I didn't realize it was gonna have red and blue lights. I thought it was just gonna have the security type lights on it. Okay.
Okay, any other questions on this? Don't make a motion on this,
No, I mean, it's pick up your departments,
okay?
yes.
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve the transfer of the 2016 Chevy pickup to the judge's office for EMC. Second by Commissioner Sullivan, any other discussion? All those in favor of the transfer to the EMC, the judge's office, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, number to sheriff, thank you. I think we got some more towards the end, but you know, you're worn outstanding here.
Yes, sir.
Number 10, consider an act on interlocal agreement with Bell County Indigent Healthcare. This is what we did not have in last Commissioner Court's package. Took a while to get all this information, but this is the agreement that we've entered into every year with Bell County Indigent Health. Questions on that?
I'll make a motion that we enter into the interlocal agreement with Bell County Indigent Health as presented.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Williams to approve the agreement. Second by Commissioner Head. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the interlocal agreement with Bell County Indigent Health, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it unanimously. Number 11, consider an act on inmate healthcare resolution related matter. Again, this is something that was not in our package, and Miss Mary Gale's got it to us. Any questions on the inmate healthcare resolution? I'm not gonna read all this. Same as last year, same year before. I'll make a motion, we approve the inmate healthcare resolution.
Say,
Second been made, I made a motion, second by Commissioner Williams. All those in favor of the inmate healthcare resolution, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 12, consider an act on interlocal agreement with Regional Public Defender's Office, Local Government Corporation, and Mills County related matters. This is something we go into every year. Mr. Bill Malone, I know our county attorney has looked over this public defenders for capital cases. Any comments, Mr. Malone, you got?
Well, the chance of having to fund indigent defense for a capital case is pretty minuscule. But if it does happen, it can be financially catastrophic, and the amount of money we're paying annually is, you know, pretty
Small amount.
small amount. So I think it's a good deal.
Okay. Commissioner, any questions?
This is the deal that we approved, that, if you had a capital murder case, Mills County pays into a bill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I'll make a motion. We approve the interlocal agreement with the Public Defender's Office.
A second.
Second by Commissioner Parton. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the interlocal agreement with the Regional Public Defender's Office, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it unanimous. Number 13, consider act on 2025 funding commitment for Appeal Country Community Action. I will read this. This is from Texas Department of Ag resolution authorizing county grant program for year 2026. A resolution of the County of Mills certifying that the county has made a grant to Hill Country Community Action Association, an organization that provides home delivered meals to homebound persons in the county who are elderly and or have a disability, and certifying that the county has approved the organization's accounting system or fiscal agent. Whereas the organization seeks to apply for grant funds from the Department of Ag to supplement and extend existing services to homebound persons in the county who are elderly and or / disabled pursuant to the home delivered meal grant program. Whereas the program requires the county in which the organization is providing home delivered meal services make a grant to the organization in order for the organization to be eligible to receive program grant funds. And whereas the program rules further require the county approve the organization's accounting system or fiscal agent and the organization to be eligible to receive program grant funds. Be it resolved by the county, section 1, the county hereby certifies has made a grant to the organization amount of $459 to be paid and used between the 1st of February 26 and 31st of January 27. The section 2, the county hereby certifies the organization provides home delivered meals to homebound persons in the county who are elderly and or disabled. And section 3, the county hereby certifies that has approved the organization's accounting system or fiscal agent, which meets financial management system required as set forth in the Texas Grant Management Standards promulgated by the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. And this is introduced, read, and hopefully passed by the affirmative vote on 8th day of September 2025. So I will speak very highly of our group over here. My mom's on the Meals program and Meals on Wheels, and there's a great group of people, county residents that provide services on that. And good service. So I've always been very happy with it. So commissioners, any questions on that?
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2025 or, oh, wait. So our agenda says 2025. This is the 2026.
Yeah.
The 2026 funding commitment to Hill Country Community Action and related.
Okay. Motion been made by Commissioner Williams to approve the 2026 funding commitment for Hill Country Community Action. Second by Commissioner Head. All those in favor of approving this commitment, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 14, Commissioners' request and reports. Commissioner Sullivan, take it away.
We've been blading on County Road 315, finished it and we moved to 423 and kind of finished it up to 424. And then we bladed all of 424 and we finished 423. And then we're continuing on 427 to get these roads bladed before we lose all the moisture in the ground.
Okay. Commissioner Head.
Now, we haul material for 240, 217, 259, kind of finish up on some of our washes. We've been pushing up the material to finish working 235 out. And kind of started on another creek on 235, and you guys will finish it up today. Last week we pretty much worked on the KW and everything, and got it up and running. So we're staying busy, going different direction.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Porter.
Been blading with one maintainer. Got the tractor and the shredder. We've been shredding every day.
Did the grass fall or something?
Yeah. And so anyway, been plenty busy, just working in Mullen area back towards Lake Merritt, headed back towards Pretty, see how much Johnson grass and in cases trying to get some trees cleaned back out of the road. But Johnson grass has gotten bad this year and we really, with all the washout, did not have time to address it anywhere close to properly, so.
Some of the Johnson grass actually is already tied in my head again, so.
I mean, when Johnson grass is out on the road bad that you really can't blade the roads anymore, then it's time to do something with the Johnson grass.
Okay. All right, is that it?
Yeah.
Commissioner Williams, go ahead, sir.
I did some right of way work on 527 and finished that project. We are also worked on some ditch work on 508 with the Millings, and then moved to 416 and doing or Millings wrap, whatever you want to call it. I guess the state calls it wrap. We're putting that wrap down on 416 hopefully should finish that up today and tomorrow, and then we'll move to 417 to work on wrap over there. Trim some trees, we may have another variance coming to us. I got a phone call from a landowner that's looking at trying to buy a house, and so he's gonna reach out either to Bill
Okay.
or Gerald to double up on that.
Okay.
So just that might come up. And I did some maintenance stuff at the shop, so that's about it, sir.
Okay, number 15, county judges report. First off, Commissioner Port and I had that meeting a month ago with the railroad, and Commissioner Port and I haven't heard any news from them yet, have you? Okay. Just letting you know, I hadn't heard anything. Bridge report, some of y'all come in the office, Carlos Reyes, sent to me, a bridge report for all the bridges in the county. And commissioners, if y'all need a hard copy, Annette can print it off for you, or we can send you the email, for all the bridge, inspections that were done in the county.
That's new. They usually give each precinct one.
But anyway, I got this by mail with a flash drive and everything. So, go by and see Annette, or we'll send it to you, whatever's easiest for you.
Okay.
Some good news, Encore settlement, has been agreed upon. Now, no checks been written yet. But for Road and Bridge, through this Encore settlement that's been in litigation for 4 years or so, Road and Bridge will get $25,000, $674. Mills County, $152,545. Goldblade ISD close to 200,000, and Mullen ISD close to 100,000. So again, both parties have agreed to the terms on the Encore settlement. So hopefully the next month or so, we'll see some money on that. And Sheriff, you want to come back up again? 2 weeks ago, when it was, we had the jail standards person come through.
Yes,
And
sir.
spoke very highly of how clean the facility was, all the paperwork was in order. And Sheriff, I'll turn over to you.
Well, Judge, this is one of the better parts of my job, and I appreciate the opportunity to come up here and talk about this. When we think about what that crew does back there, it is absolutely astounding, and I invite any one of you anytime to please come and follow them around for just a minute, and see what they do. The jail standards, that standard book is not 2 inches of the way we are required to operate a jail in Texas. And Greg knows, I see him shaking his head and saying, yep, I know exactly what you're up against. And they come in unannounced and look at all of that. And what they look at more than are the floors clean, are the locks working, are the cameras working, things of that nature, or the routine stuff. What they look at more than anything is what kind of shape is the paperwork in. And that's another one that I invite you to come look at anytime you want to, on how they're required to keep all of that. Jail standards looks at all of that, every bit of it, to make sure that we are doing that in a manner that the state requires it being done. And we had an exceptional report. There was one technical, and that means one report that we need to do a little different. It wasn't anything that they had any bones about. It's just we changed this report. This is the way we would like for you to do it in the future. In that complete inspection, the inspector raved about how well that crew took care of that reporting back there, took care of the jail in every aspect. We were able to get a certificate out of that. That keeps us free from inspection now for a year. When they see that we run that type of facility, then they're satisfied with what we do there. They'll come in and do the paperwork inspection next year. And then they'll not come back for 2 years or something because of how well that looks. So Judge, thank you. That crew back there does an excellent job. When you see them, if you know them, stop and shake their hand and tell them what a good job they do, because it is exceptional.
Yes, doing a great job, all the crew out there in the jail.
Judge, before we get away,
Yes.
and I know y'all saw the sheet here. I hope that y'all look at that. It talks about the stats there. I mean, if you're looking at that, total arrest, Mills County Sheriff's Office, last month, 28, one a day. When you think about that, one a day, that's quite a few. When you look at the bookings, total new jail bookings, that's 39 new bookings, and the amount of paperwork involved in all of that itself. So when I say they're doing an exceptional job, they're working hard, and they are, there again, making us proud in Mills County. You should be very proud of those folks. to have an inspection report like that from Jill Standard, just like the gentleman, and I'm glad that the judge had an opportunity to come over and listen to him, that inspector, when he talks about it, because he did raise about what kind of shape that facility was in.
Very happy. One of the best ones.
He said, this is one of the cleanest facilities that I've looked at, that I do look at. Actually, I heard that from an inmate.
Best jail I ever stayed in.
When you have someone that spends enough time around, you come in and drags them in jail, I think that is why.
That might not be a good thing. I'd rather get arrested in Mills County than somewhere else.
The worst complaint that I had was the oatmeal, so.
The oatmeal.
That will get any worse than that, we'll get it on. Judge, thank you for the opportunity.
Sheriff, thank you and all your group at the Mills County Law Enforcement Center. Okay. Number 16, I'll make a motion, we adjourn. Second by Commissioner Head, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned, everybody have a great day. Oh, and we got a Commissioners Court meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. on the facilities. We got to remind y'all.
How is our deal set up tomorrow? With the engineers, are they going, where are they?
Oh, what time the engineer?
There he is.
So